All right, Coach. Well, thanks for helping out today and doing this interview. I'm sure it's going to be really helpful. I know especially out west, tons of junior golfers are always interested in Davis, so this should be great. Thank you.
Yes.
So I guess to start, I know you're an Aggie through and through. You played at Davis. You did grad school here, and you've been coaching for a while. Can you kind of give everyone your background and competitively in coaching?
That's about it. I got my undergraduate in math and economics here, and then my master's in math at UC Davis. I played here. I played professionally for a couple years, donated some money to the good golfers out there, and decided that I should try something else if I wanted to make a living. So I got into coaching. I coached first for my college coach, Joe Carlson, for a couple years, and then I coached with Jim Soker, who was the football coach here for Hall of Fame football coach here for 20, 21 years. And then he became the golf coach. So he's the one that really got me into coaching and just very fortunate. He just passed away last week. And everybody out here in Davis is very sad about that. But he was just very lucky to have him in my life and learn from him. And he's been my mentor the last 25 years, maybe. So he's helped out lots of players in our program from the past and current. And so very fortunate again to have him to help me along the way as I've been a coach here now for a long time, well over 20 years now, I think. Well, the first thing I would say is recruiting's very, very tough from the college side, from the coaching side. There's so many good young players, and you really don't know who's going to develop, who's going to be the guy 2, 3 years down the line. So I think as a coach, you just look for gathering as much evidence as you can. Certainly, a player's resume, his golf resume is very important, and the things that we look for are achievement. It's not so much you go out and you look for the perfect golf swing and say, okay, he's the guy I want to coach. You look at that aspect of it, but you like to see the resume and you like to see achievement on there. I think that's a big thing that we look for at whatever level. It could be the local level, it could be the regional level, state level, national level, but achievement, wins, low scores, performance is a big criteria. Yeah, the ranking thing's a little tricky. I've seen so many instances in the past where great players, if you look at their ranking, they're probably not where they're supposed to be, or players that have been ranked higher really haven't performed to that ranking and down the line in the college level. So ranking's a nice thing. It's kind of just a guide. I certainly put a lot more stock into a player's individual resume and then watching him compete.
Gotcha. Um, and I know with your program, you have uh, the convenience or the luxury of having so many great players in Northern California. Um, can you put that in perspective for maybe some of the recruits that it might be you can recruit mainly in California or just Northern California? Do you think it would be a good idea for players really interested in Davis to build a schedule around trying to get to Northern California a few times a year if they're from out of state?
I think so. We definitely, for UC Davis, we definitely do more of our recruiting here in Northern California because, like you said, there's so many good players.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, it makes sense if somebody is looking into schools in this area to come up and play in some of these events. The Junior Tour of Northern California is very competitive, and they hold a lot of great events. The Junior Golf Association, JGANC, is fantastic. And then, of course, the national tournaments come out here, the AJGA and the FCWT and things like that. So there's so many opportunities to play tournaments out here and playing good fields against great players. Northern California just produces some of the best golfers, and you can see that because you see a lot of other coaches and colleges coming here to recruit.
Absolutely.
Like to find a way to keep them out of here, but I haven't figured that out yet.
How do you feel about amateur events? I know the NCGA has really, really strong amateur golf
Awesome.
presence. How would you compare that to, a player, maybe a top 5 in a junior event versus a top 15 or a quarterfinal finish in the Northern California match play?
We always, when we do see a player, we go down the list in the field. So it doesn't matter what the venue is. If a player is beating other ranked players or other well-known players whose games you know, then that gives you a good benchmark for that player and a good way to evaluate them versus other guys in the field. So yeah, amateur events are awesome. The California State Amateur, we've gotten some very good recruits that have done well in that tournament. Absolutely. Like, fantastic competition.
Okay. Last thing on kind of, what you're looking for in recruits. When you do go out to a tournament and you're watching these guys play, what are the key things you're really looking for?
I like to see how they compete. You're not necessarily looking, golf is such a tough sport, so sometimes you play well, sometimes you don't. I almost like to see how they're doing if they're not playing their best, because if anybody gets hot, they're going to look great, and you're going to fall in love with them. So I kind of like to see maybe things aren't going so well. I'm just kind of curious how they play. I definitely look at fundamentals. Make sure that I feel like the swing is solid and can hold up over time. It doesn't necessarily have to be a perfect swing. There aren't very many of those out there. But we'll look at that. I definitely love players that can putt and chip. Those are always good ones. So you look at different aspects of the game. I think one thing that we do is we look for the player's strengths and weaknesses. And if their weaknesses are things that we know that we can coach and correct and can develop over time, then we get excited about that player because we could build around his strength and improve the areas that aren't as strong.
Okay.
So I'd say that's something that we would look for in person watching a player. What are his weaknesses, and are they fixable? Can they get better over time? Are they easy to fix, or are they hard to fix?
Okay.
And definitely attitude. You definitely want a guy with good body language, good posture, good demeanor, can handle adversity. It's pretty exhausting as a coach to have to develop that part of a person because it usually takes a while. So for sure we look at that.
Attitude is hard to fix. You can always make a player stronger and hit the ball longer.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Agreed.
Awesome. Little bit on the academic side. Obviously, Davis is really competitive. Is that something you're looking for in your recruits? Good students, GPA, SAT, extracurricular.
Well, of course, they have to be admissible to UC Davis.
Right.
UC Davis is one of the top 10 public institutions in the country. So by extension, one of the best universities in the world. And I think for a recruit, it's not necessarily what we're looking for, but that's what they should be looking for, because that's going to help develop you as a person. Look at, if you want to get into the golf world, and look at Brent Snedeker, Vanderbilt, Luke Donald, Northwestern, Tiger Woods, Stanford. These are the best players in the world, and they went to the strongest academic universities in the world. So there's no doubt, in my eyes, there's a correlation that going to a strong university where you have to really be a student and you're going to learn, that's going to help develop you and make you a better person and eventually a better golfer as well. So that's something a recruit should be looking for. Okay.
That's great. And I agree. It definitely seems like a disciplined student in the classroom, they're also a student of the golf game. And, they figure out what's working for them. They put a process to it, and, they get the most out of their practice and develop.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so, that is a huge plus at Davis. You guys are playing comfortably, playing golf year round. Amazing weather. What's the school golf balance like? I'm sure it's time consuming all year.
Balance, that's to me, that's up to the player a little bit. It's what the player wants. If he wants to go to grad school, he's probably going to put a little more time into getting his grades up. If he wants to turn professional and play professional golf, he's probably going to put more time into his golf. So, we're getting adults that are coming here and they're going to make their decisions. I do find that our best players are the ones that are the most passionate about golf, and you're going to see them out there at our facilities all the time, practicing and working at it. So balance-wise, you can do two things great in college. You can be a great student. You can be great, no doubt about it. You can get a high grade point average, and you can be an All-American golfer. It's hard to do three things great. So if you're looking to be a great student and a great athlete and have an incredible social life, you don't see that one very often. So it comes down to the person and what he wants. But if he wants to do two things great, he can do them here at Davis, no problem.
Okay, that sounds very similar to something I heard from my coach first day I got to school.
Pretty true.
It is very, very true, and it's difficult. You're going to have a bit of a social life, but to really prioritize things and make sure your schoolwork's getting done, you're getting your practice in, and you still find time for the football games and things like that.
Sure.
Okay, great. So, having played at Cal, I knew, most of the Davis team when I was in school, and still know several of your players. It seems like they're definitely a close group. How would you describe the team dynamic? In practice, are they really working together to help each other and learn from each other? A lot of individual practice. What would you say?
Well, about my players, I would say this. I've coached here over 20 years. I'm not sure the exact number. Probably look it up. I would say that this year and my last year could be my most fun years I've ever had coaching. And that's just a direct tribute to the players that I'm around. They're just amazing people. A lot of them love golf, so they're out there all the time. Yes, they do practice together. They hang out together. They're just good people. If you were a student athlete, you'd want to hang around with the other guys on the team. So I love it. I enjoy spending time with them. But they work hard and they do practice and play together and go to the basketball games together and hang out together and whatever else they do.
Okay, that's great. Do you find you can pinpoint that in recruits? A recruit who comes in and you can really tell he has a love for the game. He loves practicing. Someone who might be a good fit to fit in with your current team.
That's what we look for. If there's one thing I could really figure out, it'd be their passion for the game and where that passion is going to be 2, 3, 4 years down the line when they're second, third, fourth years. And those are always the players that are the most successful. And that's probably why recruiting is tough for all college coaches. It's hard to know. I mean, these are young men. They're still figuring out their lives. And so it's hard for us to know what they're going to figure out. But I can say for certainty the ones that love it, the ones that are competitors, are going to be your best players. Maybe not the perfect swing, maybe not the perfect putting stroke, but they're going to be your best players. The ones that want it.
The ones who are hungry, even after a college offer, they're still playing full schedule of tournaments just because they love to compete, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's practice. Tell me about when you guys get to tournaments. I think some of the biggest things I picked up on playing in college, our coach was really big on preparation, yardage books, post-tournament evaluation, stats, and taking all that information and saying, how am I going to improve the way I practice and be more prepared for the next tournament? How do you feel like you're able to share your competitive and your coaching experiences with your guys? How are you the most valuable to them?
Well, first of all, our tournament schedule is fantastic. It's one of the strongest in the country. So our guys, they can't get excited to get prepared to play in the tournaments we play in, then they're just in the wrong business. Mm-hmm. So we do have opportunities to play against the best teams and the best players. And you kind of look at it like a midterm. Is you prepare for your midterm and then you take it and then you see where you are. You see what you did well and what you have to work on. We have a stats program as a math major, so I thought I should put it to some use. So we've developed a stats program that our players use, and the whole purpose of it is just to identify, hey, here's what I'm doing well, here's what I got to work on, so that your practice is correct and efficient. Because as you know, going to a top academic school, you have to manage your time very well. So definitely looking at the numbers and seeing where you need to get better, and absolutely post-tournament evaluations and meetings, and just sitting down and listening to the player and hear how their preparation matched up with their tournament, and where they need to go from there to get better for the next one.
Okay.
Because it's just about, I mean, if you want to develop as a college golfer, you got to play in tournaments. Period. End of story. And a recruit out there should be looking for the place where he can compete and compete in the best events and get in that lineup, but not have it necessarily easy to get in that lineup. But you don't want to be shut out of that lineup either. So that's very, very important for a recruit, is figuring that part of it out.
Okay. And it is a tough balance, on both ends. The coach is finding those players who'll be the fit, and then for the recruit, finding a team, where you will be able to play. Because, if you're not playing for your first 2 years of school, it's going to be tough to really improve.
Very tough. That's where you come in.
Yeah. Coach, this has been awesome. Two more quick questions for you. So a recruit is reaching out to you. He's interested. What's the best way he can go about getting your attention and keeping your attention?
Shoot low.
Perfect.
Easy. They definitely want to email you. They want to send a resume, and you want to be able to watch them play. So you want them to send you their tournament schedule.
Okay.
Definitely, they want to come visit. They certainly want to see the campus. They want to see, this process is about the recruit. It's about finding the best place for that person. So they want to visit your campus. They want to meet some of your players. They want to see, one thing we love to have them coming up to Davis is where you're literally 4 or 5 minutes from your apartment to the golf course, to our short game facility, to our wedge range facility, to our golf courses. Like, a player at Davis has such an incredible advantage because they're not going to be in their car. They're going to be out of the classroom, they get something to eat, they're going to be at the golf course that fast. And they're going to be able to practice, get home and study. So we want them up to Davis, and we want them to see what that process is like. And, of course, for them to see if it's a place they feel is going to be comfortable for them.
Great. And, I know you are getting a lot of outreach from recruits, and I imagine a big thing is if you do get back to a recruit with interest, you want a quick turnaround time. You want to hear back from the player maybe in 24 to 48 hours to see how interested they really are.
Yeah, I think so. I think you like to have personalized notes. A lot of times you get notes that or just kind of a form letter. And so if they really are interested in Davis or that college, then you want to get something personal from the players. Sooner, obviously, would make sense. But, the process takes time, so it's not like there's necessarily a rush to it.
Okay.
But I think just communication is the key. Constant communication is really important.
Okay, great. And then the one thing, what's the one major turnoff that you might get from a recruit, something that just really kind of comes through in an email or a phone call, or maybe you're recruiting on the course, that just kind of, for you, that, cuts the cord and, maybe he's out of the running for a spot?
Not that they're out of the running for a spot, but a turnoff definitely would be when you get the note that says, "Hey, coach, you're my number one choice. I really want to come to David. What I have to do," and then you talk to your coaching buddy, and he got the exact same email that they're their number one choice. Just be honest. Like,
Okay.
we really appreciate honesty. We love it's okay. It's about the recruit's journey and his process. So be honest. That's a turn on for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, Coach, thanks so much. This was really helpful. Thanks for your time, and good luck with the spring season.
Yeah, can't wait to get started. We're still off for another month. I want to get back out there and watch him these great drives and make birdies and have fun doing it.
Sounds good.
Happy holidays to you.
All right, same to you. Thanks, Coach.
Okay. See you, John.